Ready to roll. Right. Thank you all for coming to this presentation. I hope you're all enjoying your Euro-dreaming so far. All been good? Okay, so if nothing else, I'm going to get the prize for the longest title of a presentation. That's thanks to Chris from Validity who thought that one up for me. But it's not as complicated as it might sound, so let's get started. Okay, so my name is Andy Corbett. I've been a Salesforce admin with the Post Office for the last 5 years. But I'm actually now in my 35th year working for the Post Office. I know you won't believe it, madam. I look too young, yes? Yeah. Now, when we first started with at the Post Office, not only did we not have Salesforce, but we didn't have computers even. So you tell how long that's been. I'm a certified administrator and platform app builder, the main two credentials. And you can find me on Twitter. Before I came to the event, my ambition was to get up to 500 followers on Twitter. So I'm pleased to say that yesterday I got up to 502. So thank you for following me. I'd never tweet anything, I wouldn't bother. But this session isn't purely about the Post Office, but I'd like to set some context as to why data quality is important to an institution like ours. The Post Office is among the largest retail networks in the UK. We've got 11,500 post office branches. And despite what you may read in the press, they're not closing. We've more post offices now that are actually open and offering services than we ever have. 98% of post offices are run by retail partners, so they're not run by post office staff. And 99.7% of the population of the UK live within 3 miles of a post office branch. We sell over 170 different products and services, spanning financial services, such as savings, insurance, loans, mortgages, and credit cards, government services, telephony, foreign currency, travel insurance, and of course, mail services. We offer the UK's largest fee-free cash withdrawal network. We've got 11,500 branches. 99% of UK bank customers can access their bank accounts at a post office. And post office branches remain highly valued and trusted, which brings us to our theme of being able to trust. Our customers trust our brand very, very much, with a focal point of many communities. Now, as we offer so many products and services, many of which are of a financial nature, we're a very highly regulated company. It's very important we look after our data, both physically and in terms of regulatory requirements. Now, in the UK, we're answerable to the following regulatory authorities: Financial Conduct Authority. Our GDPR is looked after by the Information Commissioner, who we have to report to. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, financial crime and money laundering. They're not services we offer, but Ofcom for our home phone and broadband service, and for all the money we take over our post office branches, the payment systems regulator. So we can see we're very heavily regulated by a lot of important companies in the UK. So, how do we use Salesforce in the post office? What Salesforce products do we use? Well, first off, we've got a partner community. So we've got a partner community which allows our agents to introduce products and services to customers using a handheld tablet. And customers can also apply for some of our products via the Salesforce partner community. One of our most important things is we've got an integration with our point of sale system in all of our 11,500 branches. So we capture leads into Salesforce from potential financial services customers, which generates all the work for us in our Salesforce org. We've also started to use Marketing Cloud. It's not our main marketing database, but we've intercepted some of the journeys from our main database and put them into Marketing Cloud. We're trying it out, if you like. So we send SMSs and emails to our prospects with further information about our products and services. We also use Sales Cloud in a more traditional way to call our mortgage and insurance leads to pre-qualify and pass them to our service providers for conversion. Now, who knows what this is? Work.com. Who's heard of this? So we're the people who use this. We use this internally to record training and compliance for our agents who use the community. And as well as Marketing Cloud, we do have an integration with our main sales and marketing database. We synchronize data between it and Salesforce. We capture marketing preferences, product holdings, etc. Now, as I mentioned previously, this session is not specifically about the post office, but why data quality is important to us and our customers. We're one of the UK's most trusted brands, which fits neatly in with the topic of trusting your CRM data. Okay. Now, I hope you appreciate these wonderful clouds. I'd like to thank Christine Marshall. I don't know if you saw her presentation this morning about solo admins. She lent me these clouds for my slides because I think they're really, really nice and they do clever things. So what is trust when we talk about Salesforce CRM data? The three things I wanted to concentrate on: trust in your processes, trust in your users, and trust in your data. So processes, how does data get into your org? How is it maintained? Trust in your users. Are they entering data correctly? Are they using the system correctly? And putting those two together, really, you can really start to learn to trust your data. So let's have a quick look at trusting your processes. So how does data get into your Salesforce orgs? So who puts data into their Salesforce org manually using keying in? Leads, contacts, opportunities, that sort of thing, yeah? A few of you here. What about web to lead? Anybody use web to lead, yeah? Get data in. We've got integrations with other systems. So there could be other systems sending data in real time or in batches into Salesforce. And good old-fashioned data loads. Spreadsheets, Excel, getting them into Salesforce. So I realize that most, if not all, everybody here already knows the concepts of what I'm going to be talking about in the next few slides. I'm not here to teach you anything new, hopefully. Well, if I do, it's a bonus. But it's about getting us to think about why we implement these features in our orgs, how they contribute to overall data quality. So for manual entry, maybe data is entered in real time into Salesforce as part of a conversation with a prospect or a customer, during a sales call, or maybe a marketing campaign to attract new customers. So one example, some of our agents in post office branches can capture leads directly into Salesforce. This is a screenshot of our partner community. Behind each of those tiles, there's more information about those products, and we can capture customers' names, phone numbers, email addresses, if they're interested, and we send them more information via the Marketing Cloud. This is another example from our postoffice.co.uk website. This is a web to lead form where people who are interested in mortgages with the post office. And to ensure that we get quality data in, because web leads are one of our most successful, you can build validation right there at source. So for example, on our mortgage page, we send interested prospects from this form into Marketing Cloud and into Sales Cloud. And there's a potential here to validate your email addresses and your phone numbers directly on the form, so you don't necessarily have to build that validation into Salesforce. And there are products available that can do that for you on a form such as this. We could also, example, use mailing address lookup. And these are all ways to assure that the quality of the data coming into your org. And with data loading, this is where you may have, for example, a list of potential prospects, can be purchased or obtained otherwise, loaded into Salesforce using integrated functionality. We've got a few examples up here. We've got data loader, of course, the built-in data import functionality there. But we've also got third-party apps We use one called People Import from Validity that allows you to import data and clean it effectively on the way in to deduplicate it. That's Gemma there, just going past. Hi. Very powerful tools, cleansing and removing duplicate data as it's imported into your org. Let's have a look at trusting your users. So if some or all of your CRM data is being entered by users, then you're going to need to provide them with the tools they need to ensure you can trust them to capture customer data in the right way. So this just illustrates a few tools we can use about managing duplicate records. So duplicate management is built right into Salesforce. It works fine with manual data entry. The first example shows a user viewing an account. Salesforce has detected it may be a duplicate, and it gives them the option to view that duplicate rather than entering a new lead. The second one is example of a user viewing a lead, and again, it's detected that there could be duplicate or one or more duplicates in the system. Once duplicates have been detected, you can block users from creating them. You can warn them, but allow them to create them. And then you can create reports on duplicate records that you, your system admin, or a user can resolve at a later time. And then the users or admins have to then take action based on these duplicates. So what do you do with a duplicate lead? Do you merge them with another one? If you've got a lead that also matches a contact in your org, you can convert the lead onto that contact and therefore get rid of the duplication. And there are other products available from the App Exchange which allows the automation of duplicate records, which would be useful for records arriving en masse, for example, from functions such as web to lead or integrations. There are, again, other products available which can deduplicate across objects, such as between leads and contacts or inside opportunities. At Post Office, we're starting to use an app called Dupe Blocker. Again, this is from Validity, which allows us to monitor and control duplicate records. Moving on to validation rules. So validation rules, again, prevent the entry of data which breaks your business rules. They're often used to enforce data quality, can be very effective for checking the completeness of customer data. First example there is just showing a simple address validation, because you can't successfully mail out to your customers without a complete address. And I should know that working for the post office, right? Second example is ensuring that a lead has got a first name. The only thing that's enforced in Salesforce for leads is a last name. We've got plenty of leads, or we inherited a lot of leads in our database that are just a last name, and it doesn't really make for a very good marketing experience. You know, if you've ever received an email from a company that says "Dear blank" or "Dear brackets first name close brackets," you know, the sort of thing that we need. Now, I imagine everybody here has migrated to Lightning Experience. Nobody using Classic anymore? So if you do use Classic, there's a nice little feature in Classic, I say nice in the loosest sense of the word, called Quick Create, which allows you to create a very quick lead, for example. But the thing about Quick Create is it doesn't enforce any validation rules, doesn't enforce any mandatory fields. So if you do use it, any of your beautifully created validation is not going to take effect. So be aware of that. And then there's a couple of examples here, more complex examples maybe, that assist with the quality of data entry into your org. We've got two features here called Flow and Path. The first example on the left is a flow, providing a decluttered, simplified entry. If anybody saw Chris's presentation this morning on flow, you may have covered this as well. This example shows a flow which creates a new contact launched from an account, and the user's given the option here that if it finds a duplicate record, you can either create a new one or update the existing. And you can add validation and guidance to users right on these flow screens to ensure your data quality is maintained before a record is even saved. The second example shows Path, which is a Lightning Experience feature. And with Path, you can specify key fields to be entered in by the user at each stage. You can prompt your users which fields are the most important, and there's less chance of them neglecting to complete them. And we'll talk about incomplete fields a little bit later. And you're giving them a visual guidance and a narrative to assist with data input. And again, all features which can lead to a better quality of data. And then getting back to basics, finally on this section, we've got good old-fashioned page layouts. Everybody's probably familiar with these, but just putting some thought into the design of them can be a big help when entering data manually, using features such as record types, business process. You can declutter your screens, making sure only the fields that you need for this record type or for this user are actually on the screen. Sections where you can group your fields logically into a logical group of like data. And you can arrange fields into a natural order of entry. So if you've got somebody entering data into your org, maybe they're following a script, or a sales colleague might be making a call to a customer and capturing detail in a particular order. Just putting the fields in the right order can ensure completeness of data. And of course, you can provide help text at field level to ensure that users are entering the correct values based on your own business rules. So hopefully that covers some of the features that you're familiar with. So we're now going to look at our third and final cloud, which is all about trusting your data. So this brings everything together. So we've looked briefly at how we can prevent dirty data from entering our org. But what about data that's already in your org? Can you trust that? So if you've had these measures of creating data in a quality way from day one, then you're probably confident that your data is going to be in good shape. But if, like me, I expect some of you may have inherited a Salesforce org where in the past data quality hasn't been the major consideration. I mean, 5 years ago, we didn't think we'd be using Marketing Cloud in the post office, so emails and phone numbers weren't of a massive importance to us, because all of our correspondence was by mail. But now we're sending emails and texts to potential customers, so we need to change the way that we look at things. Correct phone numbers and email addresses suddenly become very important. Now, if you went to Dreamforce or to a recent world tour and looked at any of the keynote speeches, you'll have noticed the emphasis on the fourth industrial revolution, which is where our customers expect a seamless journey throughout our products and services. And these personalized one-to-one journeys start with data quality. But even if you've got a more basic setup, whether you're a startup, a non-profit, larger organization like the post office, we rely on the quality of data to attract and retain your business. So how could we perhaps categorize the records in our CRM system? How do we assign a level of trust to each record? So kind of thought about how we might categorize individual records in your database. So firstly, starting with the top, you might have a perfect record, perfect contact, a perfect lead. They're not duplicates, they've got a valid email address, and by that I mean it's not just a valid format, but you have got half a chance of actually contacting somebody on that email address. And then there might be no issues with any of the other fields that drive business decisions. And we move down a level to an acceptable record. Okay? So with a little love and care, these records will soon be perfect. They might be able to resolve them as quick wins, get them up to a perfect standard. They'll have a valid email address, they're not a duplicate, but there might be some minor content issues, sort of content I'll talk about in a second. Records that you might class as being limited. They might have an invalid email address. There might be a duplicate record. Some key fields might have minor issues, such as decision support. So by decision support, I mean fields such as lead source, lead status, opportunity type, parent accounts. These are all fields that make you make business decisions based on these people's records. Moving down the scale, insufficient data. So there might be missing engagement points, and by engagement points I mean those key fields: email, phone number, mailing address. And then we get right down to the bottom where we've got some unactionable records. Okay, we'll see a couple of examples later. They've got major issues with content, the data's malformed, email addresses just don't exist, phone numbers are the wrong length, this kind of thing. You can't do much with them. So we looked at some examples of how we might categorize data, but how do we sell data quality to the business? How can you describe to your senior managers that the quality or otherwise of your CRM data is directly affecting your business? So if you focus on the key areas in Salesforce, the key objects, which contain our core CRM data, such as leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities, and how these might relate to 4 key business functions. So if we think firstly about campaigns. So campaigns use as leads and contacts, which rely, of course, on those engagement points I mentioned earlier: email address, phone numbers, billing address, mailing address. This can affect your customers' communications and result in missed opportunities. So clean data, higher customer engagement. If we think about your pipeline, so this is the incoming leads that we're trying to convert into contacts and opportunities. So we all want to see those leads converted and start making sales, as well as these engagement points such as email and phone. We look at decision support. What's the source of the lead, for example? In post office, we know that leads from certain sources, such as the web, are far more likely to be converted to a sale than other sources. So we would concentrate our efforts more on those records. So if we can identify leads that are actively engaged in sales and marketing by ensuring, for example, that our call centers have got the necessary guidance to keep them updated in Salesforce. If you remember, we looked at paths earlier, then we know we can target these leads more effectively. Retention of customers, obviously very important. So this is more looking at accounts and contacts. How do you ensure that your existing customers are being looked after and effectively engaged? If you've got frequent interactions with these customers, thinking again about 4th industrial revolution, everybody wants to know everything right here, right now. So cleaning your account data, your contact data, your opportunity data is going to support this. And then business performance intelligence. So that's a bit of a mouthful. I'm going to call it reports and dashboards. Maybe Einstein analytics, because business decisions are frequently driven by data. So, if you're an admin or you produce reports, you get asked the same questions. How many? How much? Who's buying our products? Who's not buying our products? So reports and dashboards, those shiny charts and graphs that senior managers love to see, all of these rely on the underlying data being in good shape. And that's how an admin can make a real difference to the business, help to fix problems like lost revenue, wasted expense, and customer retention. So how can we actually measure data quality? How can we identify these records in our orgs that are perfect or unactionable? So as well as the obvious engagement points that we need to look at, email address, phone number, etc. Don't know how well you can see that slide. Correct names, correct job titles. What other areas are important? So we call them business segmentation and decision support. So for example, for opportunities, you could define opportunity types for new business, a different opportunity type for a renewal. And in turn, this could be used for successful campaigns. And by defining which opportunities are open, you can put a monetary value on opportunities that might be missed due to poor quality of data that supports those opportunities. For leads, we mentioned about lead source earlier, and pipeline management and campaigns can be much more successful if targeted at the right group of potential customers. So you might not want to waste time trying to fix leads, such as the lead in red there. So Mr. Andy ? He's got a phone number 123456, email address test@test.com. I don't think he's going to be buying any of your products from your company anytime soon. But an example on the right is more of what we might call a perfect data record. So putting all these things together, you can start to form an overall picture of the data quality in your org and how it can impact your business. And I'm going to show an example here of a tool that can help us with this. So this is an example of a trust score. This is using technology developed by our friends at Validity, who were one of the main sponsors here, and their booth is at the back there if you want to pay them a visit. And I believe, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, that you can offer people a free trust score of their org if they go and visit you today. It will produce a report something like this. So this is basically translating your business rules that you've got programmed into your Salesforce org into an overall score. It gives you a score of how good quality your data might be. It gives you a quality of records, record quality breakdown, and also an attempt at giving you a business impact on what the quality of your, or the state of your data is at this point in time. Okay, so that's a trust score from Validity. Now, I've not planned a question and answer session, but we've got a few minutes left. If anybody wants to discuss anything. I don't think I've even got a microphone. All the technicians have gone home.
Andy, what's your trust score?
That's not the post office's trust score. I won't reveal the post office's trust score. Yeah. So has this resonated with anybody? Is anybody going through this at the moment? Is anybody doing a review of the quality of data in the org? Has it got you thinking about it? You think of other more specialist orgs. I mean, Salesforce have got clouds now for Health Cloud, Financial Services Cloud. I've just been to a presentation about non-profit and the good work they do there. Now, if you can imagine the impact on those types of orgs of having poor data quality, if you're holding people's account numbers, sort codes, etc., it can have a real impact. So that was me. If you need to contact me, you'll see me wandering about the expo later. I hope you got something out of the session. I think after this, in about 15 minutes, we've got the demo jam in this area. I think a lot of people thought the demo jam was 11:30. I wonder what all those people were wandering around for earlier. Demo jam's always really exciting, so enjoy the rest of your day here, and thanks for coming. Thank you.